What's up, people? I'm back for another video. Today, plan on doing two videos. Later, some point today. If I don't do it today, I'll just do it next week. But I'm gonna do it today. I'm at least gonna watch it today. We're gonna watch Planet of the Apes, Rise of the Planet of the Apes. So I'm gonna try to review that later. If I don't do it today, I'll do it tomorrow. But today, right now, I'm gonna do the videos to do Tuesday. We are reviewing the first. And I'm only going to do the first one. I think Strangers to me works as better as a one-off anyway. So I don't think I'm going to do two. I probably don't think I'm ever going to watch Stranger Parade at Night. And definitely this new prequel, which apparently is really bad. So I remember watching the first Strangers. It came out in 2008. I remember watching it in 2009, I think it was. And man, that movie got me. The one thing I will say, and it's probably going to be the title, the most realistic slasher. It very much is. Apparently, it's actually based off of the director. Based it off two high-profile cases. One of them being the Manson murders, and then the other one, I think, was based, the director's own. Apparently, there were a series of break-ins, I guess, when he was a kid in his neighborhood, and he based it off that. And I guess supposedly there's similarities with, another murder from the 80s. But yeah, that's what makes this film realistic. It's this couple, James and Kirsten. They're pretty much only two really main characters in the movie. Them two. And then I think James' friend Mike, but he gets killed pretty quick. Aside from them, you got the killers, you know? And I love how you don't know what the scares are very done well. You got the scene where Kirsten's either cleaning a cup or she's drinking something in the kitchen, and you can see in the background, you see the guy in the mask, the iconic mask. And pretty much, so the story is James and Kirsten came from a wedding. You could tell they're kind of both depressed because apparently she turned down his wedding proposal. And then basically weird things start happening in the house. So this woman, in blonde is asking where Tamara is. Doesn't answer, and then she asks again when James leaves, and then that's when she realizes there's a break-in, and the slow realization, she finds the smoke detector, which was on the floor, now on a table, which she remembered wasn't there. She realizes someone's breaking in. James comes home, and then just weird shit it's just the level of escalation before they finally kill him in the end, and that's what makes this film work, is the legit jump scares were done well here. That's why I was saying it's most realistic, because there's no supernatural element. This isn't about some killer killing you in your dreams, or some super powered killer who can punch your head off or something. This is just some regular good old killers. And actually, you know what? I'm going to change the tagline of the video. Just the iconic quote from this film, "Because you were home," is so fucking eerie. Even to this day, that is still an eerie fucking quote. When James and Kirsten are tied up and Kirsten asks, "Why are you doing this?" "Because you were home." I think Dollface says it. Is so fucking eerie, man. Dude. That is... And then pretty much, the film pretty much ends with their death. Kirsten's somewhat alive, because you see throughout the film, you see these Mormon kids try to give, these pamphlets. And towards the end, they give one of the killers one. Obviously, they don't realize it's one of the killers. They go in the house, and this is where they find the bodies. And Kirsten wakes up, call the police kind of thing. So I guess she doesn't fully die yet, but I'm assuming eventually she dies later on. But, yeah. Great fucking movie, man. And yeah, there's not a lot of on-screen kills. Towards the end, you see James die. And I guess Kirsten, it's implied she dies probably once after her little thing towards the end. But relatively, there isn't a body count in this movie. It's more about the eeriness it's trying to set. And I really think they really nail it with the atmosphere and the eerie feeling, especially when Kirsten's home. And I can definitely say, I wouldn't be surprised if this is one of those movies that made people be scared of being home alone, Because that's kind of what it was. There's a portion of the film where Kirsten's home alone and all this weird shit's happening, played by Liv Tyler, who I thought did a pretty good job. The killers were great. You don't know nothing about them. You just get that eerie line because you were home. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. And yeah, man, I love this movie. This is one of those I watch not all the time, but definitely probably gonna add it in the rotation, especially come like Halloween time. It's just such a good film, and it never needed a sequel. I always felt like I've heard people say Strangers 2 is actually decent, but I don't think it needed a sequel. It really never did. I actually like the idea of this just being a one-off horror tale. So in my head it is. So I don't plan on watching two, or definitely not planning to watch this new one, which I heard was absolute shit. So just gonna do the first one. So out of 10, I'd probably give this film almost a 10 out of 10, at least as a horror film. If we're going objectively as a horror film. Because I think it really sets the mood. And yeah, especially this is, I would argue, one of the best slashers / horror films within like the last, like, really in the 2000s for sure. It's just such the fact that, like, that's why, like, I really don't think it needed a sequel. It's such an eerie one-off horror tale about these killers who stalk this couple and then kill them in the end. You know, it didn't need a sequel. I didn't need more. I didn't need really more of these killers, because you're gonna fall into the trap of just doing the same thing, and that's kind of what I hear they do. Kind of like a lot of what the great things this first one did, especially with like the jump scares and stuff. It's done way worse in the later movies, is what I hear. So I'm just gonna skip them. Like I said, later tonight or today, I might do it later today. We'll see. I'm gonna review Rise of the Planet of the Apes. We're gonna do that today. Later today. I don't fully know what my schedule is this week yet, but if I do by either later today or tomorrow, I'll say it. But anyway, let's get into The Strangers. So the movie opens up. Kirsten and James get to his, I guess, kind of, you want to call it cabin. Not really a cabin because it's not in the woods, but let's call it like a house. and everything's all weird because she had just turned him down. Turned down his wedding proposal. So, there's everything's kind of awkward between them, and you just kind of see James call his friend Mike, who you see later, tells him to come pick him up in the morning. Then they just kind of drink, and like I said, this is one of those movies, it's not about the dialogue, because I'll be honest, I think the dialogue's whatever, or even the characters, because Kirsten and James are just kind of there. They're the victims. This movie is more about the psychological aspect with the killers talking the house. This is like, so the characters, you can, if you want to say, for me, it's not the weakest part, but I could see an argument that the characters, Kirsten and James, are kind of weak. They're kind of boring. There's not much about them. Like, you don't really know anything about, I'll be honest, you don't know shit about James and Kirsten besides she turned down his wedding proposal. Like, there's a scene where you have like a little bit, I guess, kind of a flashback to earlier, where she turned down his wedding proposal and they were like at a wedding, like at a friend's wedding or something like that. And yeah, they both drink. Both start to have sex, but then someone knocks on the door. It's this blonde woman. You don't see her face, but you just see like kind of blondish hair. She asks if Tamara's home, and Kirsten says no and kind of shoos her away. Then the next day, James leaves for the day. I think he goes to work, something like that. And Kirsten's home alone for a little bit. No, actually, no. I think it's she wants him to get her cigarettes or something like that. And he leaves, and then the same woman knocks again. She shoos her away. And this is pretty much when I will say too, this movie is paced very well. Like I don't think there's like any moment where you're just like the movie lags or just kind of halts or anything like that. Like movie kind of goes like once James leaves, and then that second time that woman knocks is when the creepy stuff happens. Like she goes, there's a shot of her going in the kitchen, and you see like not right behind her, but like in the corner, you see this dude in like a white mask just standing there, and it is creepy. Like that is what makes this movie work. Especially if you watch this as a kid, I can see like this kind of movie making you like, I don't want to be home alone, even during the day, you know. And then obviously she notices her door's forced open, and she also notices one of her smoke detectors is on the table, clearly indicating someone was in the house, which was the guy you saw earlier. And I just love how like eerie this, like, 'cause there's a shot later. It's probably one of the more iconic shots when you just see the guy in the burlap mask outside the window. Just little eerie shots like that. And then yeah, so James arrives home. Actually, I think she sees Dollface. She sees Dollface, but she doesn't do anything. She freaks out and just kind of hides in the room. And then she starts hearing like footsteps. Actually, no, a little bit before that. She starts hearing someone try to break in and the door open and try to force their way in. So she kind of hides in the room. Then she starts hearing footsteps, obviously thinking someone's trying to kill her. It's James. He came home. She tries to tell him what happened, and he, initially doesn't believe it. And he then actually looks outside, and then, no, if they go to the basement, she then sees Dollface, I think, or one of the other one. I'll be honest, I don't really remember the killer's names. I think they all have like names, but they don't really say it, at least in this movie. So James kind of confronts the woman outside, realizes his car has been ransacked and fucked up, and tries to leave. He tries to get his wife, and they try to leave, but the car rams them, so it kind of fucks up the car, so they run back inside. Now they're both realizing they're in danger. This is when Mike arrives, and he comes in, but he ends up getting shot by James, because James thinks he's like one of the intruders. So, and then that's when the killers get in. This movie is it's not short. It's just it's a kind of a quick movie to go through. That's all. Throughout the movie, you see like Mormon kids try to give like pamphlets, throughout the movie. I get it. I can see the argument that, like, you know what, these characters, you really didn't need these kids in the movie. But I think what they were trying to go for is, obviously the setup for the end, where they get to, I guess I'll just spoil it, where they get to the house and they find the bodies. So I think that's really all they were there for. It was fine. The way I see it, it's a little buffer between what's going on. Let's just be real, guys. I'm going to say it again. There's really no other characters in the movie that are, like, in terms of, like, I guess you want to call them victims or whatever you want to call them. There's no other characters, aside from Mike, but he just got killed. And he's not really a character. He's just, he shows up for a second, gets in the house, then bam. That's it. Well, because they think he's an intruder. So then the killers end up taking out Mike, or James, sorry, and then Kirsten. They both tied up, and this is where you get the iconic "because you were home" line. That line is just so fucking eerie, man. And I think why this works too, what I mean realistic, this could actually happen. That's one of the reasons I love the first Scream, is I feel like there's an aspect of this could happen in real life. But this one even more. I would argue this is probably the most realistic slasher, like, of all of them. Because if you think about it, this could happen in real life. I mean, I guess this and Scream, the first one. I'm talking about just the first Scream. You know, have like a realistic aspect about them because they're both of them are just guys in costumes. It's not like some supernatural dude killing you in your dreams, or if you talk about both Michael and Jason, these hulking killers who can like cave your head in, or in Jason's case, punch your fucking head off. It's not shit like that or a killer doll. This is guys in this movie, guys, women, and a man in masks. That's it. They're just regular people. You know? And that's what makes it creepy, I think, is just that. They're not some supernatural crazy shit. Like, this is basically, that's why, if you notice, like, the director basically has said that this movie is essentially, he took the Manson murders is like the biggest inspiration for this movie. The Tate murders specifically the Sharon Tate murder. These people just break in and kill. And that's kind of what happens here. They're tied up. You get the because you were home line, and then they start stabbing James, killing him, and then they stab Kristen, and you do see her crawling towards the door. And yeah, it's such a good film, man. And it's a sad one because this is where all your main characters die. I mean, they don't show Liv die because technically you do see a shot of her in the case. So this is where the boys arrive at this house. They give the pamphlet to Dollface, obviously not knowing she's a murderer. They just think she's someone who lives at the house. They then go in, and this is where they find the bodies. And I'll admit, this is a very crazy ending because these are just kids ultimately coming to do their little Mormon thing, and then just they find bodies, and then Liv or Kristen wakes up and tells one of them to call the police, and then I'm assuming she dies after that, probably because she got stabbed pretty brutally. So this is a great film, man. I really am happy. I really wish I saw this in theaters with everyone because I could see this being creepy. And definitely, if you're someone who doesn't like horror, I could see this kind of fucking you up because it will make you paranoid. Especially if you hear fucking noises, you're gonna check outside all the time. I can see this kind of movie doing that. Because like I said, it has a very realistic, and also it's just our natural fear. People breaking in and killing us. Pretty much. That's like a, very simple premise. Someone trying to kill you. You just break in it, and then you get that eerie line because you were home. No other reason, just simply but you were home. That's what makes this film so great, and I just really wish it just stayed one movie. It never needed a sequel, and I've heard positive things about Prey at Night, which is the second one. I just don't have an urge to watch it. I just don't. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think this really needs it definitely doesn't need I don't know if you want to call it prequel, because it doesn't need more films. It's a one-off horror tale about these killers who break in this house and kill the couple. I think it works better that way. There's not more to tell. It's not like these killers. It's not like Scream, right? Where you have the aspect of it making fun of the concept of horror movies. So I can at least see an idea of like, okay, the second one is going to be about making fun of sequels, right? And then the third one is trilogies. There's at least something there. There's no argument here. There's no argument for a sequel here. The killers, to me, I don't really need them to know more. I don't even really like the idea of knowing more about Michael Myers, but at least Michael Myers is a horror character you're following. Same with Freddy and Jason. So there's an argument for them getting sequels. I don't think there's that here. The killers are just guys in masks. I don't need to know more. They killed this couple. Maybe there's an idea. You can always believe in your head, yeah, they probably killed more people, but I don't necessarily need to see it, And on here in the second one, from what I've heard of it, they don't kill everybody like in this one because it's like a younger teenager. So they basically escape. And it's like, I just think that takes away the scariness. That's what made the first one scary. There's really no survivors. It wasn't like your normal slasher where there's like a final girl no. This was supposed to be the anti that. And that's why I think it getting sequel really never should have happened. So anyway, First Strangers is so good. Good score. The right amount of jump scares. This was before they just spam jump scares at you and all that dog shit. So, but yeah, guys, I love this movie. Definitely gonna watch it again, probably around Halloween time. So, anyways, later tonight or tomorrow at the latest, we're gonna review Rise of the Planet of the Apes. I'm gonna finally do it. I love that movie. I just start of a perfect new trilogy, and it's so sad that Kingdom just fucked it up, you know. So that's why, to me, I'm just gonna review those three movies. Maybe after the third movie, like I said, I might do the original. It's been a little bit since I've seen the OG Planet of the Apes. So, anyways, call it here. This movie is I'll give it a 9.5. Sorry. I'll give it a 9.5 out of 10 if I'm being objective. But honestly, for me, subjectively, this is a 10. I think this is a perfect horror film. Like, it gets everything right. Everything you want out of great, especially if you're going specifically slasher. I think this nails it. So, but I'll watch Rise of the Planet of the Apes today. I'm gonna try to review it today, and then tomorrow I'm gonna review a movie. It's called Last Kumite. Friend Steeg recommended me. It's not. I'm always down to watch what he recommends me because he always recommends me generally good stuff. So I'll be watching that tomorrow. So that's at least what I know. I don't know what I'm doing the entire week yet, but anyways, guys, call it here. Take one more hit, and then I'm gonna cut it. All right, y'all. Talk to y'all a little bit later and or tomorrow. Peace.